Ohio State, man, you just can't beat people and go home. And Michigan, shaky, shaky, shaky. Bad loss by Maryland. Look, guys, you can lose games, but you just can't lose like that. Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Keith Adams. And on today's Throwdown Thursday, we're going week 9 of the college football season, and we are starting to eliminate people week by week moving forward. In segment 1, we're going to get after the Power Fours. In segment 2, we will talk about Group of 5. In segment 3, we'll talk about things strictly for entertainment purposes only. And my colleague will remind me as I started this whole thing, I should have stayed away from some people. But first, SEC. Texas A&M with a good win, much to my chagrin. Alabama still hanging around. What's this thing with Arkansas? They win at the wrong times, and Auburn got a win. Lackluster performance by Texas. Diego's putting a whammy on some people. Bad loss by LSU. Seriously, you can't throw that many picks, man. What are you doing? Missouri, they told me they were a fraud. I believed in them. That's my fault. And Kentucky. With us today, Old Man Radio, to quote Tony Kornheiser, academic and athletic consultant for the CKSA Project, George Ockett. George, thoughts on the SEC, my friend?
They're cannibalizing themselves. We talked about this last week, and you saw it happen. We talked about how important that Texas A&M LSU game was going to be. And as you see right now, A&M has not lost within the conference. And if you would have gone back and picked who you wanted to pick and took a look at, A&M was not one of the teams that come up on the radar. This really makes that game against A&M versus Texas huge. I mean, it's all the marbles on the table right there. A&M has not been real good about living up to the standard when it's been one of those games. So we're going to see what they're going to do this time, because they got a huge one coming with Texas right now. So we'll see.
I'm with you. Let's stay with A&M because their one loss was to Notre Dame, and Notre Dame's in the top 15 in the country. So that's not a bad loss. And if Notre Dame keeps winning, Texas A&M looks good. And then 2, I don't know where the Texas game is. I don't know if it's at Texas A&M or Texas. But if they keep winning, which they could, they can get Texas out, because I'm sorry, you got 2 losses, somebody, and it's only 12 teams, and we can't bring everybody to the party. So that's going to be interesting with that. And Alabama keeps hanging around too. Will they take a 2-loss SEC team? What do you think, George?
It's going to be tough. By the way, I want to tell you right now that Texas game is in College Station, so they are in College Station. So Texas is not going to be at home.
You talk about tee it up, as we like to say. Yeah. It's teed up for Texas A&M.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I mean, you got to look. I mean, are they going? I would have to say yes. They're going to take a 2-loss SEC team. And the reason I say that is because looking at the schedule coming down the road, you have right now 1-loss teams. You're looking at Tennessee, Texas, Georgia, and A&M. LSU is sitting there right outside of 2 losses. Alabama is sitting right outside of 2 losses. But Tennessee has to play Georgia. Texas and Texas A&M have to play each other. So some 2-loss team has got to get in there. I mean, it's actually seeable that we're going to have a 2-loss SEC team in for the SEC championship.
That's possible. That's possible.
Very possible.
It's like King of the Ring, man.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Big Ten. Oregon. Good win by Oregon. USC had good win. Penn State, go ahead, Penn State on the road. A little shaky, but you got that win.
Very shaky.
Indiana, keep chugging, and that was the backup quarterback, correct?
Correct.
And they still got a comfortable win. Iowa, I'm so glad it's not last year because I'm not worried about them being anywhere near my playoff. I don't have to see them keep winning. Who cares? You ain't going to get there. And Minnesota beat the Terps. Okay. Lackluster performance. Not good from Ohio State. What are y'all doing, man? You're supposed to be Ohio. Oregon, 34 nothing. Whatever they did, there was no doubt that Oregon was going to win. Ohio State, man, you just can't beat people and go home. And Michigan, shaky, shaky, shaky. Bad loss by Maryland. Look, guys, you can lose games, but you just can't lose like that. That's a bad loss because of how you lost. Rutgers, the shine is off, and Washington. Yeah, it ain't last year no more. Anything? Any thoughts on the Big Ten, George?
Here we are again. They're gonna hurt it. They're gonna hurt themselves. At the beginning of the year, we sat here and we talked about the Big Ten being, and everybody talks about the Big Ten being up there with the SEC or whatever, but they're not showing up, and they got across the board. Their heavy hitters are not looking like heavy hitters, and we're running down as we go down the road here. You got Penn State playing Ohio State next week. Both of them. You want to talk about lackluster performances? Jeez, both of them escaped by the skin of their teeth. And if I'm those two, I'm worried because Indiana, the Grinch is coming to town for both of them,
and they're not going to play any of those heavy hitters.
And Indiana has left on their schedule. They have Ohio State left on their schedule. So they're going to get Ohio State and Michigan. Well, Michigan's not even in this conversation. So Penn State has got to, for them to be still in the mix, they're going to have to beat Ohio State. They got to. So
I go back to James Franklin's quote, and I know what you're going to say to me. James Franklin tells you every year they're a good team, but they won't be a great team until they win these games. And every year I put my chips in the middle. And next week, I'm going to have to debate to put my chips in the middle.
All I have to say.
You're going to tell me, what are you doing, man?
All I have to say is I fair warned you before the season started. We're back here again. Penn State is a letdown pro. When the bright light gets shined on them, they disappear. That's all I got to say about them. But hey, look, right now, Oregon is running roughshod through the conference, which is hilarious because they're all Pac-12 ain't all that. They lead the Pac-12, come to Big Ten and act like there's no changes. Hell, Oregon State used to give Oregon a tougher game every year than anybody in the Big Ten this year. So, it's interesting. I call it, just give me my credit when it happens, when it becomes Indiana versus Oregon for Big Ten championship. Just give me my credit.
Click. Those ratings would be low, but you are dead on it. You are dead on it because you watched a lot of Sun Belt football, and you said that was a good hire. Yes. Indiana picked up Kurt.
Yes.
And yeah, man. Which makes me even madder because the team down the street keeps losing. Big 12. Good wins by BYU, and you were the underdog, and you got the win comfortably. Baylor won, West Virginia won, Houston, much to my chagrin, won. And, man, give Deion all the props in the world. You go from 1 win to 4 wins to bowl eligible. Say whatever you want. That's how you're supposed to do business. Lackluster performance by K-State and bad loss by Utah. I was trying to get a little bit of money back from them, and they couldn't beat Houston. For goodness sakes, they could beat Houston. I only put up 14 against Houston. Any thoughts this week on the Big 12?
The most exciting turned out to be one of the most exciting conference because this has all the drama. Real quick question: is BYU allowed to play for the Big 12 championship?
Absolutely.
Okay. So if that's the case, as we go down,
absolutely,
BYU has a cakewalk into the championship. They don't play the rest of their schedule. They don't play anybody opposing. the way they've been running roughshod through the place, and
Well, don't forget the holy war against Utah. That's supposed to be the rival.
the way Utah's looking right now, this ain't gonna be no holy war. It's gonna be a massacre.
Yes.
Kansas State, who's still up there, but BYU destroyed Kansas State. Which makes you upset because Colorado only lost, what was a 3-point game they lost on last possession.
And Iowa State was on a bye.
Yeah.
So
Iowa State, well, I mean, looking at Iowa State, they got Iowa State's last couple games are winnable. So it looks like we're going into, unless Kansas State can do something when they play Iowa State, I think in 2 weeks, it looks like we got a BYU Iowa State game coming for the championship. But more than anything in that conference, well, props to Coach Prime. Yeah, they're just doing. They look solid right now. Oh, they look like a solid college football team right now. And Shedeur Sanders looks like the best quarterback in the country right now. So,
and you got Travis Hunter being Spider-Man.
He doing it all.
And I saw a stat that said when Charles Woodson won the Heisman, he caught like 10 to 15 balls as a receiver.
Yeah.
I think Travis Hunter's like in the top 10 in the country in receiving and interceptions. And he should get the Heisman.
He went for over 100 last night and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. Everybody's playing for second, as Larry Bird would say.
Yep.
Okay. ACC, good win. Pitt is still undefeated.
Yes.
Pitt is still undefeated. Miami.
Yep.
Virginia Tech. Great job, North Carolina. Strictly for entertainment purposes only. And Cal got a nice Pac-12 win. Lackluster performances by Louisville and SMU. SMU took overtime to beat Duke. And if you're trying to be elite, you can't go overtime against Duke. Bad losses by Florida State and UVA. So UVA started off hot, 5-1, whatever, and now they've tumbled. And then Florida State, do you make that call to Boulder at the end of the year? I don't know, George. What are you thinking?
How's it a bad loss by Florida State? Florida State been losing all damn year.
I know, but here's why it's a bad loss. Because it's Miami, it's recruiting, and again, we can't win all of our games, but you're losing horribly. And how you gonna get players next year? Because you might have a change in coach. This is like a 2 or 3 year issue if it keeps going this way.
Nothing's going to change. Florida State. I don't expect Florida State to win another game before the year's over.
What a turnaround!
I think that the coach will survive. I think the coach probably will survive one more year. If we still have a problem next year, he ain't gonna be there. So it's interesting. But the ACC is funny because the teams we talked about at the beginning of the year, the Virginia Techs and the Louisvilles, fell off. And I got to give Pitt credit. They just consistently have a team that is competitive every year. But they're sitting there undefeated right now.
Undefeated.
They
play SMU next week. On the ACC network, George. Right. How disrespectful is that?
Very, very.
They play on the ACC network.
Same thing happened a couple years ago when they were undefeated. So you got them there, and then they got Clemson. They got Clemson in 3 weeks. So we'll see what that is. But you got. It looks like the way it's going, it's probably going to be Clemson and Miami, and Cam Ward can. Either going to have a coming out party and let everybody know what he's about, or he's not. So and probably if it's Clemson and Miami, the ACC might get 2 teams in.
Yeah, it's looking to me like the ACC is going to get 2 teams in, and that's why in the beginning of this segment I asked about a 2-loss SEC team, and when we get to segment 3 and we really look at the numbers. The questions are going to be answered.
Yeah.
The questions are going to be answered. Yeah. All right, closing out, Notre Dame. Shout out to our correspondent, Jake Sharlow, who was at MetLife Field. And to quote Mike King, that place is a dump. Okay. Haven't been to MetLife, just been past it off the highway. Great performance against a ranked Navy team, and that's the key.
Stop it.
Navy was
Stop it.
ranked.
I don't care.
And they got
Stop it.
51 points against
Stop
Navy.
it. Stop it.
So that's going to help. That's going
Stop
to
it.
help.
Stop.
Talk to me about Notre Dame, man.
I called that last week. Okay, don't even start that when you want to hear, oh, the midship, they're stop it. Okay, they're playing in Conference USA. They haven't even played
American
Conference. They haven't even played any top tier teams in the American Conference. Stop it. Notre
I didn't rank them. They ranked them.
Well, that's because they love. That's because they love when the service academies look good against subpar competition. Oh. Anyway, we're going in. Notre Dame's got a cakewalk in.
They've got Army, and Army's ranked.
Shut up. Shut up. Don't even give me that. The Army game.
That's of the cafeteria fans.
Army game going to look just like this Navy game. The only hope is that, if anybody's rooting against them, only hope is that USC finds a way and gets it together to give them a game, because they're going to mow through everybody else on their schedule. And that's their cakewalk into the conference, into the
well, now let me ask you this, George.
Yeah.
Northern Illinois is a 3-loss team. And going back to that 2-loss SEC team, who's got a better resume? Notre Dame beating service academies, or Texas A&M with a second loss, and their losses were to Notre Dame and to Texas, maybe. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking Notre Dame. They're gonna pick Notre Dame. They love Notre Dame because they know Notre Dame brings money.
So and Notre Dame's got one loss. They're in regardless.
Regardless, because if you're talking about like a Notre Dame or Northern Illinois, they're gonna give you a Notre Dame because they're going to. I mean, that they know the fans are gonna travel. Somebody's gonna watch it on TV. That's just how it's going to happen.
All right. So, fans, when we get back in segment 2, we're going to dig into the group of 5, and somebody's going to get their feelings hurt. We'll be right back on the Odd Coaches Podcast. This is Dr. Keith Adams, president of the CKA Safe Project, with a question for you. Are you passionate about supporting student athletes? If so, then become an official member of the CKA Safe Project and make a difference today. With your membership, you'll be able to help us provide essential academic and athletic support to underserved communities nationwide. Join us in empowering student athletes to achieve their full potential, both on and off the field. Together, we can build a brighter future through education and sports. Visit CKASafeProject.org and choose your membership level now. $25 is a bronze level membership, $50 is a silver level membership, and $100 is a gold level membership. Be a part of the change. Become a member of the CKA Safe Project today. Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast in segment 2. Let's jump into the group of 5. And remember, fans, one group of 5 team is guaranteed to get into the playoffs. And I don't think 2 group of 5 teams are going to make it. Let's start off with the American. Good wins by Memphis, but you blew it. Tulane, ECU and their interim coach in Tulsa. Bad loss by Navy. UTSA, George, did you see this? UTSA was up 42-17 in the third, lost 46-45.
Jeez.
Okay. Did you check out any American action this week, sir?
Other
than Navy getting whooped.
Not much really. That conference goes the way Tulane goes. You could sit here and they could talk about Army and Navy all they want. It's really going to wind up being Tulane still undefeated in the conference. Tulane has everybody on their schedule left is very beatable, and they'll make a statement too, because they have Navy left and they still have Memphis left on the schedule. So those 2 wins right there, which if it shapes out the way it does, say Army runs the table, it'll be like Tulane versus Army, and Tulane's going to mollywop Army. So, and then it'll be a 2-loss Tulane team, and their 2 losses are not bad losses. I mean, they should have beat Kansas State. The refs gave Kansas State that game.
You said that in the chat.
Don't
You
get
were
me
mad in the
started.
chat.
Mad is an understatement. And it was early. Oklahoma early gets a pick six off of a tip ball, and they lose Oklahoma by a score. I think it's like 12 or something. So, like I said, when we did this at the beginning, this conference is going to go how Tulane goes. Tulane might probably end the year somewhere around 20, between 20 and 25. They're going to be a tough out when they get into if they get a spot in the playoff.
Well, we're going to the Mountain West Pac-2 and good wins by Boise State, and that's the team I got in right now because their one loss is a 3-point loss to Oregon. That's going to be hard for any Group of 5 team to match if you've got one loss. Colorado State, nice job. Utah State, Washington State, and Hawaii getting the win. Bad loss by Oregon State. Boise played a tough game against UNLV, and they're going to be on Fridays for the next couple of weeks. So, any thoughts about the Mountain West or the Pac-2?
Well, I'm upset right now because I'm a little hurt because San Diego State dropped that game last night, and I thought they had that one. Shout out to Marquez Cooper out there, San Diego State, my former player at QO. But it's Boise or nobody. We're on a Boise or bust situation right now. I don't care if Colorado State's 3-0. I don't care in the conference. I don't care what else happens. If long as Boise doesn't slip up, they're going in. They got a seat at the playoffs, and we're going to see. They're going to. I hate to say this, they're going to go in and they're going to probably lose by 2 touchdowns to whoever they play. But Gentry will still have 100 yards, and you'll get a chance to see him because that's the way it is, man. I mean, they are good. Don't get me wrong, but Boise ain't. They're not ready to.
They're not ready for prime time.
No.
But they did a good job against Oregon, and he ran against Oregon. Yeah. So he's already shown he can run against anybody, and their linemen. They're always going to have some corn-fed guys up front. So
it's good when you get a tough team like Oregon early and on the Smurf turf. It's always a good thing for you.
All right, Conference USA. Liberty lost to Kennesaw State. So we'll go through every week and say hi to Conference USA out of respect.
Yeah.
But there's a reason why you're playing on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So, you're done. So speaking of being done, let's go to the Sun Belt. Good wins by ODU. George, I didn't think ODU was going to be good this year after going to their football combine. And I was just underwhelmed, but they're playing well. App State finally got back on the winning track after being on the snide for a couple of weeks. JMU got a win. University of South Alabama, way to go, strictly for entertainment purposes only. And Arkansas State, no bad losses in the Sun Belt. Any thoughts on the Sun Belt before we get a little action in?
It's down to the Raging Cajuns. Everybody, Raging Cajuns went out. I don't know if there's anybody in there that can beat them. I know we had high hopes on JMU and Texas State. JMU started reading their own headlines, but University of Louisiana is a tough place to play them down there. Their one loss was 2-2 Tulane, which was actually a good game for most of the game. And I don't see anybody in the east part of that conference able to handle them. So they'll probably finish this year out with one loss. They're good. They're a good team.
All right, little action. Good wins by Ohio, Miami of Ohio, Akron, Ball State, and Western Michigan. Bad loss for me, strictly for entertainment purposes only, by Toledo. Again, outside of their conference championship, they'll play in the whatever bowl against whoever. But they're not a Group of 5 team that's going to have any impact on the playoffs. Any action viewing this week, George?
I did not view any action, but let's just finish with Toledo let us down because we thought they were going to do something. So that we'll leave it at that.
Yes. Yes, and North Carolina won the first. Anyway, all
Mm.
right. HBCU's good win by Tennessee Tech. Eddie George has got those guys playing very well, and hopefully they can make the FCF playoffs and do some work there. Hampton's back on the winning track. Norfolk State got a win. South Carolina State got a win. North Carolina Central is doing that thing, man. I think they're going to win the MEAC, sir, and represent the Celebration Bowl. Arkansas, Pine Bluff, Jackson State doesn't need Dion to get wins. They're still winning. Prairie View, Alabama State, FAMU's back on the winning track, and Texas Southern, bad loss by North Carolina A&T. And come on, Bison, we got to do better. Did we check out any HBCU action as we wrap up segment 2, sir?
Well, I always keep an eye on A&T and Hampton because they're big South players. But I mean, we get to the HBCU, it's North Carolina Central, and everybody else is their ball game. So until somebody gets a program or a team together that can go ahead and compete with them, it was their homecoming this week. They destroyed whoever they played this week. So it was, you got to go through them. They got Morgan this week, which was that's actually a good win for them. So hey, man, it is North Carolina State, and then North Carolina Central, and whoever else is going to see them. Yep.
All right. So in the Celebration Bowl, it's looking like either Jackson State or FAMU will be the representative there. One of these years, George, I got to get down to just to hang out. All right. So, fans, in segment 3, we'll talk about things strictly for entertainment purposes only. And I was slightly entertained, but a couple of teams let me down. We'll be right back on the Odd Coaches Podcast. This is Dr. Keith Adams, president of the CKA Save Project and author of Finding the Balance, My Personal Journey to Academic and Athletic Success. This book is your key to unlocking the secrets of being a successful student athlete. Drawing from my 30-year career as a teacher and coach, this instructional guide offers a unique perspective on achieving success in both academics and athletics. With over 15 personal stories and insightful antidotes, Finding the Balance is a must-read for student athletes, parents, coaches, teachers, and administrators. Visit www.ckasaveproject.org to get your copy and start finding the balance today. Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast in segment 3. Let's go through the rankings. And again, our focus is the playoffs. That is our tribute to Coach Franchise because we don't care about those bowls that nobody's watching. We care about the playoffs. So I got Georgia winning the SEC. I got Oregon winning the Big Ten. I got Clemson winning the ACC. I still have Iowa State winning the Big 12. And I have Boise State representing the group of 5. So there's 5 teams right there. And now, George, let's go to the next 7. Right now, Ohio State from the Big Ten, Texas from the SEC, Texas A&M from the SEC, Penn State until next week, Miami from the ACC, BYU keeps hanging out, and Notre Dame. And then on the outside looking in, Pittsburgh is there. And if Pittsburgh gets wins, Pittsburgh will be in that championship game. Tennessee is right there, hanging around. They got a chance to play some people in front of them. Kansas State, same thing. Indiana, that's the biggest thing in the Big Ten right now because if they can win their money game against Ohio State, they're in. And then Army and the American, if they can beat Notre Dame, then they got a shot to get to their championship game, and they play that different kind of style. They could win their championship game. Any thoughts on the college football rankings? And the first ranking comes out officially November 5th, which is election day for fans to put that on your calendar. If you don't want to watch election results, you can watch who the initial top 25 is. Go ahead, George.
Let's back up. Army ain't getting. Let's stop that fantasy with Army. Okay, stop
week
that.
9, sir. It's just
stop.
Week 9.
I don't care. Stop that. I don't even know why you even talking about that. It's going to be in SEC is going to be the one to look at. Tennessee and Georgia, I think, is in 2 weeks. That's going to be huge. Texas A&M and Texas is at the end of the year, so that's going to be huge. The one to crash the party is Indiana. So Indiana goes undefeated. It's over. And then this is when we get to the bowl, when we get to the playoff, are the conference championship games? Is that mattering there?
Yes, because the winner of the conference, no matter who that is, gets that ticket, and then they rank them. That just means that they get in, and then they re-rank those conferences, and the top 4 get that bye. Which I don't think is a good thing, because if you get the 5th seed and you play that group of 5 team on your home field, you already got a game in, and now that conference team has a bye. You see that bye week doesn't always work for you.
Yeah. You don't know how this is going to shape out right now with those games left out there, and it's going to be this one's going to be a while. This is what I'm going to say. I don't put a whole lot of stock in Ohio State or Penn State going down. There's going to be a lot of tears in the SEC because they're going to cannibalize each other, which we talked about, but we didn't know it was going to be this bad. And so we're going to look, because you're really talking about whoever comes in could be a 2-loss team against a 1-loss team in the SEC championship. And the loser could have 3 losses.
Yeah.
So where are you going to go with that when we come to the whole situation, to picking who goes in? So it'll be interesting. This is going to be a wild ride down to see who gets in and who doesn't. That's what I'm saying. It's a hold your breath with all the top 3 conferences when you're talking about Big Ten, SEC, and ACC. It's a hold your breath. I mean, Oregon will probably just walk in and make sure they can get it done in it, because Oregon tends to have problems in conference championship games. We know that in the Pac-12 championship games. And then the cannibalization that's going to be taking place in all the other conferences. It's a hold your breath. Because the only one I see is Iowa State and BYU's on a crash course. And it looks like if they go, both of them might have a chance to get in. So you might get 2 teams from every conference, which is, stop it. Yeah. Whoa, stop it.
Because I'm looking at it right now, and I'm looking at SEC is going to get 3, in my opinion. Big Ten's going to get 3. ACC looks like it's going to get 2. Big 12 looks like it's going to get 2. You throw in Notre Dame and the group of 5, and there's 12, and we're out. And everybody else is feeling bad.
You forgot Boise.
Yeah, I said the group of 5 team. That's Boise. And then Notre Dame is the independent one that, as you said, they need them in there. They got their own network, and that's 12. That's it.
You got 3 SEC teams. So there's a 3-loss SEC team in there, right?
It could be. All right.
Wow.
Fans, all right. Season-long bets. SEC, I picked Georgia, and I picked Missouri. Georgia's going to give me my wins. Missouri is not.
I told him, if you remember, I laughed about the Missouri pick, but he don't listen. He don't listen to me, but that's okay.
Big Ten. I was in the tank for Maryland early, and I don't know why Mike gets mad at me. I'm like, look, I picked Maryland, and I don't think they're going to get 3-1 the last 4 games. But Oregon is cruising. So we got that. The 2 Big 12 teams I picked, I've lost on. So we're going to move on to the ACC. NC State's not going to give me the over. SMU probably will. I got Notre Dame with 11 wins, and 4-0 will be hard because of injuries. But I did take UMass in the under. They've got 2 wins, so I can't see them going 2-2 the rest of the way with that schedule. In the American, Memphis let me down, but they still could win 10 games. USF cannot win 10 games, and I got the win with UAB because I'm a hater on Trent Dilfer. Mountain West, love Boise, and they're going to get me 10 wins to get the win, and I've already lost on New Mexico. Conference USA is a loser for me because Liberty lost and FIU keeps losing. Thanks, Robert, on the tip for Texas State. They're not going to make it. Toledo, what are y'all doing? You're supposed to win. There's 5 games left, and 4-1 is doable. So we just need them to win 9. And Western Michigan are a joke on a directional school. We've got a shot at Western Michigan doing it. So for my bets this week, I was 3-4. I had LSU plus 1.5 as my showcase, and you throw to the guys with your own jerseys on, not the other team.
Fell apart in the second half.
My 2-play George was UNC plus 3.5. They took care of business, and then I'm like, all I got to do is bank on Toledo. Man, count that one. And Toledo just didn't get it done against their rival, too. My 3-play, I haven't hit a 3-play all year in college. Penn State minus 6.5, they took care of business. BYU plus 2.5, they took care of business. And I'm like, George, Utah owes me a win. They're playing Houston. That was it. I'm like, oh, Houston, 4.5. Yeah, Houston can't score. Well, apparently neither can Utah because they couldn't get it done. My 4-play was money line. UConn won because they're trying to make a bowl. University of South Alabama, they're trying to make a bowl. Michigan and Penn State, they all came through. I took the over on Kansas and Kansas State, over 54.5. I took the under on Oklahoma State Baylor, and Baylor scored a late touchdown. That messed me up. And my upset of the week was BYU. I don't know why Vegas disrespected them like that against UCF. UCF's not that good this year. So I know you didn't do anything, so let's go to week 10 games of note. San Diego State versus Boise State on Friday night. Got to watch that because Boise State's got a shot. Oregon is traveling to the Big House. Does Michigan have anything for Oregon?
That's going to be a massacre.
Okay. No.
And that's going to be an Oregon massacre.
All right. George, Ohio State is going to Happy Valley. Trying to play Penn State. It's going to be 100,000 people there.
I'm going to laugh. Is it going to be a whiteout too?
I don't know. But
you might get you. I'm about to send you a box of tissues now. You gonna be hurt.
The year? Is it the year?
Yeah, it's the year they lose Ohio State again.
All right. Duke against Miami. Duke's not a bad team.
No.
But can they go to Miami and win?
I don't know. They're gonna go down there. Duke will have a lead late again, and like it happens every week when you with Duke. I mean, with Miami, some team will play them close all the way through, and then in the last 5 minutes, Cam Ward will come up with some magic and beat them. So, yeah.
All right. Vanderbilt played Texas tough. Is Vanderbilt's run over? They go to Auburn and play in Auburn.
No, they might be able to get Auburn. That's an interesting game right there. They might be able to get Auburn.
All right. Louisville has been underperforming, and they go to Clemson.
They're going to
have a ball game.
They're going to keep underperforming.
Okay. Texas A&M's traveling to South Carolina. Is that a trap game?
Trap game. Wow. Wow. That is, and they are tough in South Carolina too. Wow.
Texas A&M should be able to get that win.
Hey, everybody, don't put no money on that game.
I might do that as my money line.
Stay away from that one.
Pitt and SMU. So Pitt's got to travel to Texas on the often watched ACC network. Hey, Florida, Georgia. Is that the cocktail party game?
That's the cocktail. That's the world's largest cocktail party.
Okay. Indiana against Michigan State. Is that a trap game? Because they got to go to Michigan State. They got to go to East Lansing.
A trap? What? Trap game for who?
Don't they play Ohio State after Michigan State?
Yeah, they probably do, but it don't matter because they lost last night. They lost Michigan. To Oregon. Oh, Michigan.
Yeah, Michigan State lost to Michigan.
Yeah.
So
ain't no trap game. Michigan State ain't even gonna be in the conversation.
Okay. All right. Now Texas Tech against Iowa State and Kentucky against Tennessee. I wonder if somebody can mess it up for everybody else. Any thoughts on next week's slate of games?
The Pitt, let's go. And this is unusual. Let's go to the Pitt game. That's going to be the one to check out, which is, I can't believe I'm saying this and nobody else can. Pitt against SMU is actually huge for the ACC to see what's going on. And I can't believe that we're talking about Pitt
going into week 10.
Going to week 10.
Pitt versus SEC is a money game.
Pitt SMU has ramifications for the ACC championship. Is crazy.
All right.
Crazy.
So to wrap up, fans, the CKA Save Project and the Odd Coaches Podcast are doing fundraisers. If you follow me on social media at CKA Save Project or at Odd Coaches, please click the link and donate to our school funder fundraiser. In addition, on Sunday, November 3rd, if you are in the DMV, we will be at the Green Turtle in Burtonsville. That's the Paint Branch Green Turtle. Stop by for the watch party with the Commanders and Giants. Recommended donation is $50, goes right to supporting not only the Odd Coaches Podcast, but the CKA Save Practice as well. George, will you be able to make it so fans can see you there too, and your budding student athletes?
I should be there, folks. I should be there.
All right. So on behalf of my longtime close personal friend and consultant, George Ockett, I'm Dr. Keith Adams, says thank you for listening and or watching the Odd Coaches Podcast, and we'll see you on the sidelines. Till next time, take care.
The Odd Coaches Podcast is sponsored by the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project is an industry leader in providing student-athlete academic and athletic support. From assessing student-athletes' academic and athletic skills, to measuring and monitoring student-athlete academic progress, to improving student-athlete time management and organizational skills, the CKA Save Project provides wraparound services for student-athletes from middle school through college. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by emailing cka@ckasaveproject.org. We hope you enjoyed today's show. The Odd Coaches Podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday through Friday on most weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the Odd Coaches Podcast on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow the Odd Coaches Podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Odd Coaches. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach Franchize. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the Odd Coaches Podcast.